bringing you the news and information you need from the people making a difference. This is Comcast Newsmakers.
Thanks for joining us today on Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Amy Allison. Mark Curtis is with us, and he is a political analyst who has been to over 25 states following the very exciting presidential primary process. It's good to have you on the show.
Good to be here.
How was that like? What was
Exciting.
that like?
You know, as a news reporter, it's neat. On any given day, we get to see news happen. On a campaign trail, you get to see history happen. So I had a front row seat to history watching this campaign on both sides of the aisle. It was absolutely fascinating.
And you talked to a lot of regular people.
I did. You know, my aim in going out on the campaign trail was not to just cover the candidates and write down their quotes and cover their speeches. I mean, people can get that anywhere. My main focus was to go into small towns and communities and big cities and go into bar rooms and restaurants and pool halls and talk to people about the candidates they're supporting and why they're supporting them. I mean, to me, that's the most fascinating part. I mean, it's our president as the people. The office belongs to the American people. It doesn't belong to the candidates. And so I wanted to talk to those people and see what they were thinking this year.
Well, let's talk about the Democratic side of the race. You got a chance to be up close and personal with both the Clinton camp and the Obama camp. How would you characterize what, you know, each campaign probably had its own culture and the way of operating?
Both very driven, both very organized. They were two really amazing campaigns. I think the Clinton campaign underestimated Barack Obama and underestimated a lot of the other opponents, John Edwards, etc. I think many people within the Clinton campaign felt it was her time, she was entitled, this was going to be more of a coronation than a nomination, and obviously they got caught off guard.
Now, is that the reason that it took her so long to concede in the race?
Maybe, but I think they were looking at any loopholes that were left, any options concerning those disputed Florida and Michigan delegates. They wanted to take a look-see for a couple of days before she finally conceded, but she did.
And what do you think is going to happen now? Is she going to be VP?
I think she'll be the vice presidential nominee. I think the choice makes sense from a lot of vantage points. She did get 18 million votes. Those are a lot of people out there that support her strongly that aren't necessarily big Obama fans. I think when you combine the two tickets, you get what I call a unity ticket. People call it a dream team, which I think is a lousy name because they don't like each other all that much. It's a unity ticket. It's a way to bring the different factions of the Democratic Party together.
Much hay was made of the fact that they met at Senator Feinstein's house a couple
Oh, to be a fly on the wall at that meeting,
for 1 hour with plain water. I said the media has nothing to report, so they report that they met and discussed something.
What I want to know is, what was Dianne Feinstein doing? Did she do the thing where you put the glass up against the wall and listen in?
Harry Potter's extendable ears. What are they talking about? Because if she's not vice president, if she isn't, then definitely cabinet post or something she's going to get out.
I don't think a cabinet post. I think being a U.S. senator is a pretty good job. And, you know, she's still going to be a key player on health care reform. I think that's going to be a big issue in the next administration. But I think she's far better suited as vice president to run that agenda and try and get health care reform passed. She has more power as vice president to do that than she does as a single U.S. senator. Plus, as vice president, if there's any ties in the Senate, she gets to cast the tie-breaking vote. So I think for a lot of reasons, it makes sense that she's the pick. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, we'll see. Obama says he's going to take his time to pick his running mate. What do you expect he's considering when making that choice? You
have to look at the math. I always say politics is as much about ideology as it is about mathematics. Mm-hmm. He's got to look at people like former Senator Sam Nunn from Georgia and say, geez, if I pick Sam Nunn, can he win Georgia? Whomever he picks has to win their state. John Kerry picked John Edwards 4 years ago, and John Edwards could not carry his home state of North Carolina. Had he done so, they would have won. So you have to bring something to the table, not just your ideology and your voters. You have to say, I can win these states for you.
Well, and it's interesting where the candidates are spending their time. Of course, they're in the Carolinas, and you'd think they would be going to the big states, but they're actually going to the small states.
I think we're going to see another race where it's decided by one race. In 2000, it was Florida. 2004, it was Ohio. Oh. I think this time it could be New Mexico. New Mexico went for Al Gore in 2000 by just 300 votes. It flipped back to George Bush in 2004. So that's a swing state.
All right. Mark Curtis with Mark Curtis Media. Thanks for joining us.